Hello there folks, and welcome back to another video. In this one I wanted to delve back into something that I used to do back in the day when the channel first started, and that is to have a look at some alternative miniatures for you to use when diving into your Middle-earth miniatures games on the tabletop. Now, a company that I've looked at before is Medbury Miniatures, and you will have seen me doing a couple of reviews of some of their miniatures that they've been working on over the last few months for various things, including historical war games. But I wanted to focus in particularly here on their fantasy range, because it has been done to very much bring together the world of Middle-earth, with an asterisk, to the tabletop for use in your games. Now, I thought the best place to start would be with the Dwarves, because this is the range that they have been working on most recently. Now, it should be noted that Medbury Miniatures is over in Australia, so bear that in mind. I will talk about some alternatives for you to look at later on in this video, however. But for now, I just wanted to talk through what they have on offer and how you can get your hands on it. So, a lot of the miniatures that they do come in metal. A lot of them are one piece as well, which is absolutely fantastic. Although they do also do these miniatures as 3D prints, although a variety of them are available as 3D prints, and they are available through their My Mini Factory page and things like that, as well as Patreon and stuff. But one of the nice things about what Medbury has done is they've essentially looked at what was available for the old dwarf range back in the day. You remember the old metal miniatures that came out initially for Middle-earth strategy battle game when they had the Khazad-dûm supplement, and they've looked at bringing together all of the different elements that you would need in order to bring this army to the tabletop. So if you're looking for analogues for the likes of Balin, Dane and all that kind of thing, these miniatures exist as part of their collection. And they don't just do the characters, as we've been seeing here. They also do a variety of the sort of standard infantry that you'll be getting as well. So here you have some of the Sapphire Ridge Dwarven Hearthguard, which look absolutely amazing with their big double-handed weapons. You've got your Dwarven Lords there. Now, obviously, I know for a lot of people, Dwarven Kings are very hard for you to get your hands on for the Middle-earth strategy battle game. So having access to things like the Dwarven Lords of the Sapphire Ridge is a really nice option on that front as well. And you get 3 of them in that pack, which is excellent to see. But you also have things like your Dwarven Rangers too, which is really nice. They are a wonderful little collection for those people who wanted to go down that route with their dwarves instead. Now, I will also say that obviously they've covered all of the different bases when it comes to your sort of standard infantry. So if we just get rid of all of those there, boom, 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 boom. You have your standard dwarves with your axes, you have your bowmen, and then we also have all of your regular rangers as well. They even did some dwarf miners recently, which is very cool. So if you're looking to fill the gaps in your army with your sort of standard dwarven warriors, you have those options, which is quite nice. They do actually scale really well with the Games Workshop miniatures. I have a couple of these in my collection, and they work very nicely with them. The poses are also very nice, and they kind of match up with both the metal and the plastic miniatures from the range as well. So you'll have some miniatures that will very easily slide into your collection and work out very, very nicely with what you've already got in up on your shelves and things like that. But these are going to be great for obviously scenario designs and all that kind of stuff as well. Here's a very nice way for you to do sort of old style Durin and Mardin as well on the tabletop, although of course his spear is a little smaller, but some very nice miniatures on that front there as well. So I mean, if you're somebody who collects dwarves, you are very, very, very well catered for when it comes to the options from Medbury Miniatures. And you should find a lot of stuff here that will be great for playing not only your armies of Khazad-dûm and Moria and the Reclamation, but also those who want to play out the armies of Erebor as well on the tabletop. Very nice indeed. Next up, we should probably go to the other side of the coin, and that is the elves. So, they've done some absolutely stunning elves over the last little while, and I am a massive fan of what they've been doing here as well. Very much the same with the elves as it was with the dwarves. All of these miniatures come as metal. In most cases, they're just one piece, but you can also get them as 3D prints, which is always nice to see. So depending on how you want to go, you've got some options there on that front. And again, these have been designed so they can match up very, very nicely with either stuff for Rivendell, if you were that way inclined, or you could use these to represent Lothlorien in your games. Maybe even Mirkwood as well, under the thumb of Thranduil. But you've got a whole host of different options in here for you to represent your various troops, as well as your sort of important bits and pieces like musicians and standard bearers in your armies, which are always incredibly useful. You've got your standard captains and things in there too, which is always nice to see. So they're not just presenting you with options. I mean, and there's even 2 variants there as well. So they could be really good as sort of like Mirkwood elves or Lothlorien elves, and then that's your slightly more Rivendell focused set of elves for you to use on the tabletop, I would say. You also got nice incidental pieces as well, so you've got things like the travelling elves there, which I think is really nice. So if you are trying to set up a scenario, maybe one that's based on Arwen's passage, well, I suppose the elves' passage towards the docks, that would be a nice way for you to sort of put together something fun on the tabletop, maybe as a diorama as well. You've got elven militia there with bows sort of waiting as sort of sentries, perhaps. So that could be quite nice if you're trying to escape with a certain hobbit from the bowels of a elven fortress deep within the woods. So nice on that front as well. You've also got your elven militia with the swords there, so there's your double-handed weapon guys. They'd be really good for fitting into your Lothlorien style forces. I think it's quite nice. And then you've got the Grid de Glace style, so this is them sort of like leveling up. So this is your kind of standard guys, your rangers, your scouts kind of thing. And then there's your slightly more heavily armoured Lothlorien elves. And they even have a elven militia start set if you were so inclined and you wanted to dive in and get your hands on a whole host of different models rather than just picking up 1 or 2. And again, they scale really nicely with the elves that we already have in the collection. Obviously, they're a bit more detailed and they've sort of moved on in terms of design from what we were seeing with the initial release of a lot of these elves. But if you're looking to sort of bulk out a Middle-earth army, then these would be a really great way for you to go when it comes to that. So yes, the elves are a very, very nice collection and just as packed out as what we saw for the dwarves. And again, they are absolutely gorgeous miniatures. Medbury's been doing these for a very long time, and they always look fantastic when something new comes out. I suppose we should stick with good, move over to the Rangers. So this is a slightly smaller collection, but another sort of part of Middle-earth that was somewhat neglected, and it was quite hard for you to get your hands on miniatures, was of course the Rangers of the North. So if you were looking to run Aragorn or maybe Arathorn, with their many rangers watching over the boundaries of the Shire, or perhaps racing to the battle at the Pelennor under the banner of the Lady Arwen, then this could be a very nice collection for you to choose from. So you have things like the Exiled Noble, which would be a very nice stand-in for those people who want to run their Aragorn on the tabletop, so a nice miniature there on that front too, posed in a really nice fashion, which I think is quite nice. He's got the similar look and style to his figure as well, although of course the facial details will be different. There you have your Hornblower and your Banner Bearer, so if you are looking to run your warband, with some nice new options, you've got that there on that front as well. I like that he's sort of posed, sort of beckoning his fellow warriors forward, whereas the Hornblower is tooting away as loud as he can. You also have a couple of cool, badass ranger characters sort of sneaking around. So if you are looking to populate the Prancing Pony with some ne'er-do-wells, then you've got some options on that front as well. Also, great stand-ins for those people who are playing Rangers of Shadow Deep, and you wanted to use some particularly fun and interesting characters to get across that Middle-earthy vibe rather than the sort of more classic dark fantasy vibe that you get from the game itself, which is very cool. And then moving on to the sort of rank and file stuff that you've got, you have all of your standard rangers that you might expect. So if you are looking to run rangers as a army, I say in quotation marks, a warband on the tabletop, you have all of your standard rangers that you could also use as your Dunedain, depending on which way you wanted to go with them. And again, really nice sculpts here in very fun poses. I'm always a fan of archers, and so whenever I see archers in different poses, drawing, loading, aiming, etc., is very, very cool. I like the windswept look to this particular ranger. He looks very nice, and this guy's got the sort of mask over his face as well, so that's a nice little touch there. You could also use these if you wanted to represent your Rangers of Gondor. So if you were looking to have some more warriors following in the footsteps of Faramir, protecting Osgiliath and things like that, this would be a nice little set for you to choose from on that front, which I think is really nice to see. And again, you've got lots of different poses, lots of different styles for you to choose from on that front for building a very nice warband to use on the tabletop. And then last but not least, we have the Rangers with Spears. So this is where you get your Dunedain and stuff and your Rangers again into the mix. So if you are looking to run them and have some support options, you do have your Rangers with Spears there. Do bear in mind they obviously come with the wire spears, so you might have to do a little bit of drilling on their hands to get them to sort of slot in properly, but they do supply those with your miniatures, so you don't have to go hunting to try and find some of those yourself. And also with them being wire spears, they're not liable to bend and break in shipping and all that kind of stuff there too. So yeah, some very nice stuff there when it comes to the Ranger side of things. They have obviously included their Dwarven Rangers and things in there as well, and your Elven Rangers too. But if you are looking to get your hands on some classic Rangers for use either under the guide of Arathorn or Aragorn, and or potentially Faramir, you have some options on that front. Now, they do also do some bad guys, and that's where we get to see a huge amount of fun stuff on that front as well. So, the Orcs are a burgeoning collection of stuff that would be very, very handy for a lot of people who are looking to build interesting armies on the tabletop. And what's quite nice about what they've done on the Orc front is that they tend to... they tended to do a lot more of these as we got to see the Rings of Power coming out. So we've got a lot of nice Orcs done in some very different styles. Although, of course, you'll find some very good options in here for those people who are building warbands to sort of match up very nicely with what you've already got access to from the likes of Mordor and things like that. So you have things like the Orc Captain there with the skull mounted on the top of his hat. And then, of course, he has the warg underneath him, which is quite cool. We have a standard Orc with a banner there as well. So, again, a really nice option here on that front. You'll have a interesting little bit there, sort of like how to do the drilling for the hand and stuff. There's even a measurement of what you exactly need to do that, which is always nice to see. But an Orc banner bearer with the red eye fluttering on there would be very cool to see indeed. You have your standard Orc warriors as well, so much like with the Elves and the Dwarves, you've got some options here for building up your rank and file. The plastics from Games Workshop, when it comes to their Mordor range, are fine, they're serviceable. But they have that issue where actually seeing the difference between different elements of the miniature can be quite hard because of the way that the plastics were done. And so having these here with their slightly more defined options and parts of armor and weapons and things like that is just a really nice touch, I think. And even if you're looking to go down the route of, you know, sort of doing Mordor or Barad-dûr or something else, maybe Angmar, you've got some options here that would fill in the gaps quite nicely when it comes to what's also available. Again, all of these match up very, very nicely to what you've already got access to, and they come with a variety of different weapons as well. So it's not like you're going to be running out of weapon options. Here's some of the Orcs they did that are very bit more Rings of Power coded. So these have got the sort of like hoods and things like that they're going on there, which I think would be a nice little touch if you want to go down that route and build an Orc army that was themed in that way. Same with the Scouts there too, which I think is quite nice. Even more Orc warriors with different types of armor on there as well. They're all in really cool poses, as I mentioned too. So you've got some good ways for you to take your armies on that front. You do still have also your Orc rabble there that come with their wire spears. So you can use them to add some support behind the front lines. If you're also looking to do sort of like Uruk-hai, I think these wouldn't necessarily look out of place. I think you could maybe pick a bunch of these and then just sort of paint them with a different skin tone. And I think you'd have very good Uruk-hai or Olog-hai or something like that if you wanted to use them in your games as well. And I think they'd match up obviously for a whole variety of other ranges too. So if you were looking to play something like Oathmark and use them to create a sort of more Tolkien-esque army, these would be a nice touchstone for you to sort of jump off from, I suppose. We also have the Orc catapult there as well, so you've got some folks loading up something of a siege engine to have a go at the walls of Minas Tirith. So a nice little set on that front with some characterful crew, which is always nice to see. And then you have the clumsy troll there who has accidentally dropped a rock on top of an orc, unfortunately. So you get the unlucky orc, who could also be a nice objective marker, I think, in the troll dropping the stone there as well, which I think is very nice. But the actual orc range from them is really, really well done, and I think it's definitely worth having a look at in more detail. So yeah, if you are looking for some very nice alternatives on the evil side of things, they do also do a burgeoning group of orcs, and this is only growing over time, so keep an eye out for this and see what you think about it. They have the Orc Legionnaire command there as well, which I think quite cool. It's a shame that image is broken, because I think that would be very good for those people going slightly more down the hobbity route. But lots of nice options, as I say, when it comes to your orcs. Last but not least, we do also have the Southrons. There's only a couple of entries for this one as well. So you have 2 figures here. So you could use him as your king. And then, of course, you've got your assassin there with his 2 blades out as well. But if you are looking to fill some of the gaps in your army, you do have some options on that front too. Now, I will point out that there is a lot more to this beyond just what you're seeing here as part of the fantasy range. You do have lots of other things as part of their historical collection that could also find their way into an army of Middle-earth. I do think that their Vendels era stuff is exceptionally nailed on for doing sort of Rohan. So if you are looking to build up an army of Rohirrim, this would be an absolutely perfect selection for you to choose from, as you can see there by the red shield with the white horse on it. So if you are looking to bulk out a Rohirrim force, this is a really, really, really good way for you to start doing that, and have some fun with it, you know, charging forward, kicking ass, taking names. I mean, that guy is sort of nailed on for a Rohirrim commander or something, smashing through the enemy lines with his red shields behind him, which I think is quite cool. But yes, as I say, this is by no means everything that they've done. I mean, you've got some extra trolls there that we didn't even see. There's a dragon, which is always fun. I mean, so why wouldn't you want to pick up some of those and have them kicking ass and taking names? Oh my god, they're so much cooler than some of the trolls that we've already seen out there in the world. And that dragon would also be an excellent option for those people who wanted to do a slightly mini Smaug, a mini version of Smaug, a baby Smaug, for example. But lots of fun little bits and pieces in there for people who are looking to build up interesting collections. And you can obviously find more as you scroll through this and delve deeper into what they have for offer. So yes, Middle-earth options from Medbury. Plenty for you to choose from, especially if you are going down the route of being dwarves or elves, although they do have also a few bunch of special miniatures in there for other people going different directions when it comes to the side of good or evil. I will also point out that there is also a collection over here in the UK from InfamousJT. So InfamousJT have stocked a whole bunch of the Medbury Miniatures range. It is currently a lot of the historical collection, although of course you will see some of the Dark Elf stuff in there. So Dark Elf? The Dark Ages stuff in there. So if you are looking to pick up some of those Dark Age warriors to use as Rohan, you will have that option, which I think is quite nice. My hope is that we're going to be seeing a lot more of this stuff coming over for the fantasy range as well. So do bear in mind that these will be shipped over at some point probably, but until then you'll have to sort of make do with just the Rohan collection for now, from InfamousJT over here in the UK. Although of course you can, you know, pay the shipping cost and get a big bundle of stuff, maybe pay with some friends to get all of your stuff from Medbury sent over from the land down under, land of Oz. So yes, very nice stuff there on the front from Medbury Miniatures. I will be looking at a few more collections that I think would be really, really good for those people diving into playing Middle-earth and looking for some alternatives. But if you are exploring this option, it is definitely worth having a look at what Medbury have to offer. I will say that this is also the Patreon page for Medbury, where you can see some of the other releases they've been doing recently. So a lot of this stuff is available as STL files for people who are backing each month, and you get your hands on the digital options rather than having to wait for the metals to come out. Although, in most cases, the metals come out around the same time as the 3D prints do anyway, so it's not a massive difference in that regard. As you can see, they have got a few things here that aren't on the web store, like the mounted Gwerglas Cavalry and the Gwerglas Spearmen there as well, which I think is quite nice. So yeah, lots of stuff over on the Patreon page as well. All the links will be down below, so if you want to find out a little bit more about these, make sure to go and check them out for yourself. I will say this was not sponsored in any way. I just really like Medbury, and I think they've done a really nice job with their collection of alternative Middle-earth Tolkien-esque miniatures. So if you are looking to fill your ranks with some great figures, these are amazing. They come in metal for the most part, although there are a few resin pieces, and they will be absolutely nailed on for those people who are looking to build fun armies and warbands for use in the worlds of Middle-earth. So yes, hopefully this was a nice little PSA for you that'll help you get sorted for some fun new miniatures to use in your games. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below. I will be going to look at other ranges that I think would be nailed on for use as Middle-earth collections, but until then, I'll be moving on to get researching. Like, share, comment, do all that good stuff down below, but most importantly, do the commenting thing, because I love hearing what you folks have to say. Tell me which of these ranges is your favourite, and have you been turned over to the side of the elves rather than the lovely bearded dwarves? Drop your comments down below, and we'll have a wonderful chat. Thank you very much, folks, and bye for now.